If for anions, we should know that negative charge will be there, and then we should say that addition of 1 electrons takes place. Here chemical bond represents, it is the bond between two chemicals when it is in the ionic state. When the cation is in the solid state and the anion is in the gaseous state, we cannot combine correctly. Hello, I am Venu Prasad, Department of Chemistry, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Today I am going to do Unit 4, Chemical Bonding and Molecular Structure, Session 1. Let us study today definition of chemical bond, Lewis symbol and its significance, octet rule and its limitation, types of chemical bond, Lewis representation of some simple molecules, definition of ionic bond and its factors, lattice energy, and Born-Haber cycle and its bond parameters. Let us study today first now chemical bonding. What do you mean by chemical bond? Okay, here chemical bond represents, it is the bond between two chemicals when it is in the ionic state. In general words, we can say like this. It's a bond between two chemicals or ions when it is in the ion. If you say chemical, we should say it is in the ionic state. But we can say that it is a bond between two ions. Okay. So now let us see the standard definition. It is the attractive force which holds various constituents, like atoms or ions together in the different chemical species, Then it is considered as chemical bond. Okay. Next thing is, what are the causes of chemical bond? Now let us see. Here, it's a tendency or urge atom. It's a tendency or urge atom of various elements to attain stable configuration of 8 electrons in their valence shell. Okay. Next thing is, it's a tendency of atoms. To form a stable molecules by losing some amount of energy. Okay. Here, first thing we have to think that it's an attractive force which holds various constituent ions like atoms or ions, we can say, together in a different chemical species. Why we have said different chemical species? Because here if it is a cation, here anion will be different. So then only we can say that it is a chemical bond between two ions. Okay. From this, what and all causes we can say? Here, it's a tendency of various elements to attain stable configuration of 8 electrons. To attain stable configuration, we can do the chemical bond between two ions. Next thing is, it's a tendency of atom to form a stable molecule. When two atoms combine, it forms a molecule by losing some amount of energy. Okay. Next thing is Lewis symbols. Lewis symbols means it is an American scientist name. Okay. It's an American scientist name, G.N. Lewis. An American scientist, he introduced simple notation to represent valence electrons in an atom. In an atom, there will be a valence electron. So, he represented some amount of symbols. Some symbols that he has been represented for to show how much valence electrons are present in particular atom. Okay. So now let us see hydrogen. What is the atomic number of hydrogen? It's 1. So it is notified like this. Okay. What is the atomic number of lithium? It's 3. How we can write in electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s1. Which is the valence electron? Here 2s1 is the valence electron. So I have represented here only 1. Okay. Or we can say that this one also we can say. Okay. 1 electron from 1s and another 1 electron from 2s. So we can say totally it is 2. Only 1 unpaired electrons are present in 2s orbital, but valence electron if you are coming means we have to say it is 2. Okay. Next thing is sodium. What is the atomic number of sodium? Its atomic number is 11. How we can represent? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. So what is the atomic number of sodium? It's 11. So how much unpaired electrons are present? Only 1. So we can say that it is 1 electrons is present in valence shell. Okay. Next, beryllium, its atomic number is 4, correct, right? So 1s2, 2s2 we will get. Unpaired electron is 2, 4 we have get. Okay. Calcium, it is 20. Valence electron is 2. Like that only some elements I have shown. Okay. Now let us see the significance of Lewis symbols. It indicates number of electrons in the outermost shell, and it helps us to calculate the common group or valence electrons. What is the significance of Lewis symbols? Just it helps us to calculate number of electrons in the outermost shell. Okay. This is the significance of Lewis symbols. Next thing is octet rule and its limitation. Okay, so what do you mean by octet rule? What they have said, just it is an atom which can combine either by transfer of valence electron from one atom to another, or by sharing valence electrons in order to have an octet in their valence shell. Then it is considered as octet rule. Okay, here first thing is an atom which can combine either by transfer of valence electron from one atom to another, or by sharing a valence electron. We can share a valence electron in order to have a octet in their valence shell. Then it is considered as octet rule. Okay. Now let us see some limitations are present in octet rule. Now let us study that. Here, first thing is the incomplete octet of central atom. Here what does it indicate? In some compound, number of electrons surrounding a central atom is less than 8. Correct, right? For example, here lithium chloride. In lithium chloride, what is the atomic number of lithium? It is 3. So 1s2, 2s1. Correct, right? So it will have less than 8. Next thing is beryllium hydride. Beryllium. What is the atomic number of beryllium? Its atomic number is 4. So we can say that 1s2, 2s2. This one also it has got less than 8. Next, if I come to the boron chloride, what is the atomic number of boron? Boron is 5. 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. So always all the atoms will have less than 5, what I have shown. Okay. Next thing is odd electron molecule. Odd electron molecule means these are certain molecules which have odd number of electrons like nitrogen oxide, nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide. Here they will have odd electrons. In these cases, octet rule is not satisfied. If the atoms has got odd electrons, then octet rule is not at all satisfied. Next thing is expanded octet of central atom they have said. Here there are many stable molecules. Which have more than 8 electrons. In their valence shell. For example, phosphorus pentafluoride. What is the atomic number of phosphorus? Phosphorus atomic number is 15. We can say like this: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3. Correct, right? So here 2, 4, 10, 12, 15. So it's the atomic number of phosphorus. Here what they have said, there are many stable molecules which have more than 8 electrons in their valence shell. Now here what is the electrons which is present in phosphorus? What is the valence electron? Here we can say that 8, 11 electrons are present in valence shell. Correct, right? So we can say, give the example for phosphorus. Okay, we can say 10 or 11, but according to me it is always 11 or 10 also we can say, because here 2p6 we have given, right? In case of strong ligand, we will get 2p5 only, we will not get 10. Okay, but in case of weak ligand we will get 11, but in case of strong ligand we will get 10. So we have notified here 10. Okay, next one is sulfur hexafluoride. If in sulfur hexafluoride, how much electrons are present? 12 electrons are present. Okay, it is clear that octet rule is based upon chemical inertness of noble gases, chemical inertness of noble gases. But some noble gases like xenon and krypton also combine with oxygen and fluorine to form some compounds like xenon difluoride, krypton fluoride, xenon oxyfluoride. Okay. Next thing is, this theory does not account for shape of the molecule. Octet rule does not explain about the shape of the molecule. It explains only about the how much electrons are present in valence shell and for which type of elements it is applicable. It is applicable for the elements which has got even number of electron, not for odd number of electron, and it does not explain the shape of the molecule. Okay. And octet rule always it is based on chemical inertness. Okay. Next thing is types of chemical bond. Here there are different types of chemical bond. Which one is covalent bond, single covalent bond, and another one is double bond, another one is triple bond. Now let us study what do you mean by covalent bond. Covalent bond means it's a force which binds the atom. It binds the atom of same or different elements by mutual sharing of electrons, Here sharing of electrons takes place, then it is considered as covalent bond. Now let us study single covalent bond. What do you mean by single covalent bond? It is a force which binds the atom of same or different elements by mutual sharing of electrons. Here also mutual sharing of electrons, but here it will be single covalent bond. Here it can be different types of covalent bond. Okay. Now let us study example for this one. Okay. Here the formation of chlorine molecule. Each chlorine atom is contributing 1 electron to the shared pair. Correct, right? Here you see 1 electron from chlorine. Here also 1 electron from chlorine. Here bonding takes place. When you get a bonding, what will happen? We can write Cl like this, chloride molecule. This is known as covalent bond. Okay, here mutual sharing of electrons takes place. Okay, next thing is in water molecule, in water and carbon tetrachloride. Now let us take another one example. Carbon and tetrachloride molecule. The formation of covalent bond is represented by, here you see H2O, correct, right? Here oxygen. Here you see 2, 4, 6, 8, correct, right? 8 electrons are present here. And hydrogen also bonding takes place with oxygen. So this is the structure of the water molecule. Here carbon tetrachloride, 4 chlorines are present, correct, right? So what is the valency of carbon? Here valency of carbon is 4. We can represent like this. And chlorine, so bonding takes place between 4 chlorine atoms with carbon. So the valency of carbon is always 4. So we can bond a carbon with 4 chlorine atoms. Okay. Here Lewis representation also, by dot structure we can do like this. Okay. Next thing is double bond. Double bond means if 2 atoms share 2 pairs of electrons. If 2 atoms shares 2 pairs of electrons, the covalent bond between them is called double bond. If 2 atoms share 2 pairs of electrons, the covalent bond between them is considered as double bond. Now let us take one example. There should be a double bond between 2 atoms. Example is, this is the example for double bond. Here double bond is there and name of this molecule is ethene. Okay. Now let us study triple bond. Triple bond means when combining atoms share 3 electron pairs, then it is considered as triple bond. Example I have given is nitrogen molecule. How it will be? This is the example for triple bond, and they have said ethyne. Ethyne means this is the triple bond between 2 atoms, correct, right? So then it is considered as triple bond. Bond between 2 atoms is triple, right? So we can say it is a triple bond. Okay. Next thing is Lewis dot structure. Lewis representation of some molecules. Now let us study Lewis dot structure can be written by adopting some following steps. First thing is total number of electrons. total number of electrons required for writing the structures are obtained by valence electrons of combining atoms. Always we should have some valence electrons of combining atoms, then only we can represent the Lewis dot structure of that molecule. Next thing is for anions. If your atom has got anion, then each negative charge would mean addition of one electron. If for anions, we should know that negative charge will be there, and then we should say that addition of one electrons takes place. Next, for cations, what we have to represent for cations? Always positive charge will be there. Positive charge will be there. That would result in subtraction of one electron. Subtraction of one electron we have to say. Then from the total number of valence electron, here you will have some valence electrons in cations. Then always cations are represented by positive charge. Then positive charge indicates that one electron has been lost. So we have to subtract an electron from valence electrons. One electron from the valence shell. Then we can say it is a cation. Okay. If it is negative charge, then we should say that always one electron has been added. Okay. Next thing is in general, the least electronegative atom occupies central position in a molecule or the ion. Next thing is after accounting for the shared pair of electrons for single bond, the remaining electron pairs are either utilized for multiple bonding or remaining as lone pairs. Here, if there is any single bond, then we should say that we can use that lone pair of electrons, we can represent it as lone pair of electrons, or we can say that it is a multiple bonding also, we can use it. Okay, these are the some rules for Lewis dot structure. Okay, now let us see some molecules here. Here, hydrogen they have given. I have represented like this H dot dot because hydrogen's atomic number is always 1. So, one electron from this hydrogen and another one electron from this hydrogen. This is a Lewis dot structure. Bond representation is like this H, one bond H. Okay, here O2 molecule they have given. What is the atomic number of oxygen? Its atomic number is 8. Correct, right? So we can write oxygen's electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. Correct, right? So what is the valence electron present in oxygen? It is 6. So 2, 4, 6. And another oxygen, here also they have given 6 and here also they have given 6. Correct, right? So here 2 bonds has been represented and remaining electrons are taken as lone pair of electrons. Next thing is O3. O3 means ozonolysis we will say. Okay. Here O3 also in oxygen's valence electron we know that it is 6. Correct, right? Like that only we have been represented. Here double bond between oxygen takes place and one is single bond due to resonance. So remaining electrons can be represented as lone pairs. Okay. Next thing is nitrogen trifluoride. What is the atomic number of nitrogen? Nitrogen's atomic number is 7. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. Correct, right? 2p3. So what is the valence electron? We can say it is 5, but it is not 5. Always it is 2. Okay. Always it is 2 in nitrogen. Here you see nitrogen. Fluorine is 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We have been represented. Like this. It is a single bond between nitrogen and fluorine. Always it is not a multiple bond, nor a double bond. Okay. Next is carbon trioxide. Okay. CO3 they have given. Here, what is the atomic number of carbon? It is 6. So, 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. So, what is the valency of carbon? It is 4. We have taken like this. Okay. One multiple bond will be there and all are single bond. This and all single bond takes place. Okay. Next thing is HNO3. HNO3 means nitrous acid. Correct, right? So, HNO3 we can represent it as like this. Here are 6 dot structures of oxygen and nitrogen we have given, and here also oxygen we have to represent, one hydrogen, again one oxygen we have to represent for nitrogen. Nitrogen's valency is always 3. Okay. So this is the structure of HNO3 means nitrous acid. Okay. Next thing is formal charge. How you will calculate a charge in a molecule? There is one formula. Means it is defined as difference between number of valence electrons of an atom, of that atom in a isolated state or a free state, and number of electrons assigned to that atom. For example, formal charge we have to calculate like this: total number of electrons in the valence shell of an atom which is in the free state minus total number of non-bonding electrons or lone pairs minus half into total bonding electrons. First thing we have to say is total number of valence electrons in the atom which is at free state minus number of electrons in the lone pair, how much lone pairs are present, minus half into total number of electrons in the shared pair of electrons, how much shared pair of electrons are present we should know. Okay. Here now let us calculate one formula here. One formula we came to know. Now let us calculate one problem according to that. Okay. Let us consider a ozone molecule. Okay. Lewis structure of O3 can be drawn like this. This is the Lewis structure of O3. And now let us calculate all the, how much oxygens are present? 3 oxygens are present. So central oxygen atom is marked as 1. This is 1. Okay. End oxygen is marked as 2. And another one is 3. Okay. Here central oxygen atom is marked as 1. So how much electrons are present in valence shell? 6 minus how much lone pairs? 2 minus 1 by 2 into 6. Why I have taken here 6? Because bonding. Okay. So 2 1s are 2 3s are. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 is plus 1. Okay. This is a formal charge. Next, end oxygen atom marked as 2 we have said. Number of valence electrons which is present in oxygen atom is 6 minus how much lone pairs? 4, right? This is 4. Correct, right? 4 minus half into how much electrons has been bonded? 4. So it is 6 minus 4 is always 2. Then 2 1s are 2 2s are. So 2 minus 2 is always 0. Okay. Next, end oxygen marked as 3 we have said. Here 6 is the valence electron minus 6 lone pairs minus half into how much it has been bonded? 2. So it is always minus 1. Okay. Next thing is ionic or electrovalent bond. What do you mean by ionic or electrovalent bond? It is a electrostatic force of attraction. It is an electrostatic force of attraction which holds the oppositely charged ion, then it is considered as ionic bond. Okay, now let us see the example, and it is formed by, how it is formed? Just by complete transfer of one or more electrons from the outermost shell to the atom of the another atom. Here 2 ions should be there. Then we have to take a valence electron from another atom. 2 atoms will be there, atom 1 and atom 2. Both valence electrons we have to combine, then ionic bond takes place. Okay. Now let us consider one example. Now let us take a sodium atom. How much valence electrons are present in sodium? It is only 1. Okay. This is a valence electron which is present in sodium. And now let us consider one chlorine molecule. Chlorine. Okay. Here its valence is 7 and it requires one more electron. So it abstracts one electron from sodium. So it forms a molecule Na plus and Cl minus. Here sodium loses one valence electron. So it forms cation, and chloride will gain one electron. So it forms a anion. This is the ionic or electrovalent bond. So it can be represented like this. Ionic or electrovalent bond. This is the representation. Okay. Next thing is definition of ionic bond and its factors we have to study. We have studied about the ionic bond definition. Now let us see the factors. Okay. Ionic bond is made up of metal ion or cation or anion, and non-metal ion is anion. Always cation is represented by metal and non-metal as anion. Okay. Now it should have low ionization energy of the metal atoms. Metal atoms should have low ionization energy. Next, high negative values of electron gain enthalpy. High electronegative atoms we should have. Next, higher value of lattice energy. They should have higher value of lattice energy. Okay. These are the factors favoring the ionic bond. Next thing is Lattice energy. Let us study the definition of lattice energy. It's the amount of energy released. It's the amount of energy released when oppositively charged ions combine to form 1 mole of the solid ionic crystal. Okay, 2 ions will be there, one cations and one is anion. Both will be in the gaseous state. When they combine, some amount of energy is required. That is known as lattice energy. Okay, next it's the amount of energy absorbed to the separate. It's the amount of energy absorbed to separate 1 mole of solid ionic crystal, 1 mole of solid ionic crystal into oppositively charged gaseous ions. It is an oppositively charged gaseous ion. We should know that both ions should be in the gaseous state only, not in the solid state. Then only we can form a ionic crystal. Okay, when the cation is in the solid state and anion is in the gaseous state, we cannot combine correctly. Then ionic crystal will not form at all. So we should know that sodium ion should be in the gaseous state and chloride ion should be in the gaseous state. Then only we can form sodium chloride and it forms a ionic crystal. Okay, next thing is, now let us study the Born-Haber cycle and bond parameters. Now let us study Born-Haber cycle. What do you mean by Born-Haber cycle? It is a cycle of operation representing energy change during the formation of 1 mole of ionic crystalline solid, 1 mole of ionic crystalline solid from the required elements, Okay, now let us see, we need to prepare sodium chloride. Okay, now let us take sodium which is in the solid state and chlorine is in the gaseous state. So you will get sodium chloride crystal. But here you need to combine one sodium and one is chloride. Both we have to combine. Directly we cannot combine when it is in the solid state. So we have to remove one electron from the sodium atom and we have to make it as cation. Then chloride, we have to add one electron to the chloride, then we will get sodium chloride. Okay, directly we cannot prepare a sodium chloride crystal directly when it is in the solid state. So what we have to do, first thing is sublimation of sodium atom to form gaseous sodium atom. So first we have to think sodium which is in the solid state. Now we have to take sodium which is in the solid state and we have to convert it into gaseous state. Now we have to convert into gaseous state. Next, what we have to do, dissociation of chlorine molecule. We have said here half chlorine we have taken and it has been converted into Cl molecule. Dissociation of chlorine molecule to chlorine atom. Here molecule means combination of 2 atoms. Atom means here 2 it is there, it has been converted into only 1 chlorine atom. Next, what we have to do, ionization of sodium atom which is in the gaseous state. We have to remove one electron from the sodium atom when it is in the gaseous state and it forms sodium cation. Okay, next what you have to do, electron affinity of chlorine atom. Here neutral gaseous chlorine atom gains one electron to give chloride ion, so Cl minus, we will get Cl minus because one electron has been added to chlorine atom which is in the gaseous state. Okay, now let us combine chloride ion and sodium ion. Okay, see here, now lattice energy. Now what we have to do, sodium ion and chloride ion will combine to form 1 mole of sodium chloride, which is in the ionic state, ionic crystal. Okay, so we have said that now we have to combine sodium ion and chloride ion, we will get sodium chloride. Some amount of energy has been released. Okay, that is known as lattice energy. Okay, next let us study the mechanism. We have studied stepwise what we have to do, we have been written or we have been learnt now. But symbolically we have to show, right? So how much energy has been released and all we have to show. So this is the symbolical representation. Here you see we have taken sodium which is in the solid state and we have to convert into gaseous state. How much energy has been released? How much energy have to supply? 122 kilojoules we have to supply. Then sodium which is in the solid state has been converted into gaseous state. Next what we have to do, from gaseous atom we have to convert it into gaseous ion. So That is known as ionization energy. How much energy is released? 496 kilojoules. Now we have been converted from solid state to gaseous state, and we have been converted into ionic state. So that is known as cationic state. Now let us take chloride molecule. Okay, chloride molecule has been converted into chlorine atom. How much energy has been released? 122 kilojoules. Okay, after that what we have to do? We have to add one electron to the chlorine atom. So it will gain one electron, so it forms minus charge and it will be an anion. So now let us combine both the ions. Now let us combine both the ions. We will get sodium chloride crystal, that is known as lattice energy, because here two ions combine. When two ions combine, some amount of energy has been released. So that energy is known as lattice energy. How much energy has been released? Minus 788 kilojoules. That energy is known as lattice energy. This is the Born-Haber cycle of sodium chloride. In your exam, they will ask this for 3 to 4 marks. It is a very important topic. Okay. Next, let us study bond parameters of Born-Haber cycle. Okay. First thing is bond length. What can we say? That bond length is defined as equilibrium distance between nuclei. Equilibrium distance between nuclei of two bonded atoms in a molecule. Next thing is covalent radius. What do you mean by covalent radius? It is the 1/2 of the distance. It is the 1/2 of the distance between two similar atoms. Two similar atoms joined by covalent bond. Two similar atoms joined by covalent bonds in the same molecule. Okay. Next thing is, third one is, a covalent bond is the sum of, it is the sum of covalent radii of two combining atoms, Here you see two combining atoms we have represented. We have taken the radius. Just we have to calculate the distance between two atoms. Here you see, this is the covalent radius of two combining atoms. Okay. So covalent bond is the sum of covalent radii of combining two atoms. Okay. Let us take one example. Covalent radius of carbon and hydrogen are. Carbon is how much? 77 picometer and 37 picometer respectively. Next, what they have said, hence covalent bond length can be calculated. How we have to calculate? We have to add both the radius. So it is 114 picometer, carbon and hydrogen. Okay. Next thing is van der Waals radius. What do you mean by van der Waals radius? It is the it represents always overall size of the atom, which includes valence shell in the anion. Here it should overall size of the atom. Then we have to say that one electron should be in the valence shell and it should be a anion, valence shell anion in bonded situation. Always it should be in the bonded situation, not in the free state. Okay. Further, the van der Waals radius is the 1/2 of the distance between similar atom in separate molecule. Similar atom, and it is a separate molecule, and it should be in the solid form. Here you see 1/2 of the distance between two molecules. It is a 1/2, right? 1/2 of the distance between two molecules. We have said like this. This is half. Other 1/2 we have said. So I have taken only this much. Okay, this is the van der Waals radius. Okay. Next thing is bond angle. If you are coming for the bond angle, it is the angle between the orbitals containing bond pair of electrons around central metal atom present in the molecule. For example, ammonia. What is the bond between these two hydrogens? That is 107 degree. Okay. If you are coming for methane, CH4, right? It is CH4 is methane. What is the bond angle here? 109 degree, 5 minutes. Next thing is water molecule. It is 104.5 degrees Celsius. We have to know that. Okay. This is the bond angle between all these molecule. Okay. Next thing is bond enthalpy. If you are coming for bond enthalpy, it is defined as amount of energy required to break 1 mole of the bond, of particular type between two atoms. It's a just amount of energy required to break 1 mole of bonds. It's required to break 1 mole of bonds of a particular type between two atoms in the gaseous state. The unit of bond enthalpy is kilojoule per mole. Kilojoule per mole. Next thing is bond order. What do you mean by bond order? It is defined as given by number of bond between two atoms in a molecule. Number of bond between two atoms in a molecule. So molecule means combination of two atoms, correct, right? So bond between two atoms, then it is considered as bond order, we can say. Okay, so in H2 it is a single bond, so it is a single electron pair, we can say. But in oxygen it is a double bond, two shared electron pairs, we know. Okay, next thing is nitrogen. Here 3 shared pair of electrons are representing. Okay, in nitrogen we can say like this, right? So here 3. Bond between two atoms is 3. Okay. Next thing is polarity of the bond. What do you mean by polarity of the bond? Just when a covalent bond is formed between two different atoms. When covalent bond is formed between two different atoms, the shared pair of electrons is attracted near to the molecule which has got more electronegative atom. Here, shared pair of electron has been attracted towards the more electronegative atom. Next, as a result, electronegative atom gets partial negative charge. Electronegative atom gets partial negative charge because shared pair of electron is attracted towards the electronegative atom. So what will happen? Partial negative charge which will get. Next, and less electronegative atom is partial positive charge. Here shared pair of electron is attracted towards the electronegative atom. Then what will happen? It will have, electronegative atom will have negative charge, but lesser electronegative atom will have positive charge. Okay, here for example is hydrogen fluoride. We can give the example for the polarity of the bond. Okay, in next session I will be studying about dipole moments of some molecule. Okay, here we know we have to calculate some hybridizations and what type of molecules will have dipole moment, which type of ions will have dipole moment, that and all we have to study. Okay, in next sessions we will be studying about dipole moment of some molecules. Okay, thank you.